Power Smokeless Grill XL 1500 watts 30-day review. I'm Darnell with We Love Recipes, and this is where I give you my thoughts and my impressions and some information about my use of this cooker, the Power Smokeless Grill XL, after using it for a full month and basically, finding out about how it works, its goods, its bads. I've done an earlier in-depth review where I detailed its functions, its features, how to set it up, and basically all the other details are in that other review. This is an after the fact, after using it for a while, review talking about how it was to use it. And the first thing that I want to mention is this note that I have right here, which I keep with my Power Smokeless Grill at all times, which simply says, add water. Because if you ever forget to add water, you'll have a lot of smoke and you'll regret not adding water. And it's very easy, I found, when using this Power Smokeless Grill to, just start getting ready to go cook something on it. You just think like with other cookers, oh, I'm just going to start it up and going to just put my food on there and just start cooking. And if you don't think about, basically having to take this off and take the grill plate out and take the heating elements off and then take the pan that's underneath out so that you can get to the water tray and pour some water in there. If you forget to do that, and it's very easy to forget that because it's kind of a tedious process taking everything apart to get in there to pour the water in, then you start cooking and then you're seeing smoke and then you're like, oh, I should have put the water in. So number one thing, always make sure you add water. I know that the manual talks about adding water kind of as like a recommendation or something. I would say consider adding water basically mandatory. Unless you're cooking something that you know doesn't create smoke to begin with, definitely add water. I consider adding water mandatory. I've seen the results when I don't add water and it's not good. So my personal opinion, always add water. Consider it mandatory unless you're cooking something that you know just doesn't have smoke to begin with. The Power Smokeless Grill is also a griddle. It has a griddle plate in addition to the grill plate that it comes with. And I will say that it works very well as both a Power Smokeless Grill and a griddle. They probably should have marketed it heavily as grill and griddle, not just saying, grill. You play up the Power Smokeless Grill line that it's an indoor grill. They don't play up as much that it's a griddle. They mention that it has a griddle plate, but they kind of just throw it as kind of like an aside accessory almost. It's very effective as both a grill and a griddle. It does both grilling and griddle work very well. And I'll say for myself, in my initial review video, I did something that I don't advise you do, but I do have to honestly confess that I do it very often. I will cook something like some sausage on the grill plate, and while things are still hot, I'll use some tongs to get that grill plate out, and I'll put the griddle on and I'll start cooking up some pancakes right away and have some sausage that were grilled and some pancakes that were cooked on the griddle, because having both plates makes that very convenient and very easy to do. And it's very nice to just be able to cook up something that you want to grill and something you want to griddle on the same cooker and be able to have the grill plate that gives you those true searing grill marks, and then be able to throw in that griddle to do your griddle work. It's not like you have to cook your sausage on a griddle where the fat's not going to drip away. Having it on the grill plate, things on that grill plate, the fat just drips away, so you don't have as much fat and grease that things are cooking in. And then you get throw in that griddle for your stuff like your pancakes and cook those up. And that's really convenient, having that all in one cooker. It's really nice. The Power Smokeless Grill having the see-through lid is very nice. You're able to very easily see how well your food is cooking and how things are going. Also, the lid helps to keep things sealed in, to keep moisture locked in. If you're cooking stuff and you cook it to its best temperature, if you're measuring temp, it's best to measure temp with a meat probe in every piece of meat, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But basically, if you're measuring temp and you stop it at a real good temp, with this kind of holding the moisture in a bit, it'll come out nice and juicy. If you overcook, then you won't get as much juiciness. But it can cook things pretty juicy when you cook them to the correct temp and you're using meat probes in every piece of meat that you're cooking with. Now, the reason why you want to have a meat probe in every piece of meat that you're cooking with is because this Power Smokeless Grill is an uneven cooker. It doesn't cook everything across the entire grill plate perfectly even. Basically, I have found from my use and experience that things over on this side near where the control panel is, and this is to like your far right, is going to cook a bit faster than stuff all the way over here on the other side further to the left. It seems like the heat's kind of generating from one side to the other, and it's getting hotter on this side than the other. Everything cooks, all the way across. It does cook, everything effectively. You can have something over here and cook it fully, but things cook a bit more, to me, in my opinion, on this side than they do on that side. And so this is why it's best to have a meat probe in every piece of meat that you put on here. Everything you put on here should have its own meat probe so that you can measure how everything is doing effectively. If you don't do that, I've done cooks where I had a meat probe on something on this side, and then you're going to overcook the stuff over on this side. Also, if you put a meat probe just on this side, you're going to possibly undercook your stuff that's on this side. So you have to have meat probes across, all of it, every piece of meat, and that way you can be sure that you're going to basically cook everything to its best temperature, and you can pull things off at the exact right time. And if you do that, your meat's going to come out really nice, and it's going to be real good. Now, this Power Smokeless Grill, I don't know if they did it to keep the price down or what, but it's lacking some frills such as no timer. There is no timer in this Power Smokeless Grill to time how long something's being cooked. So, you basically got to use your watch or a wall clock or something, but you've got to use some other means to track time. It's got no way at all to track time. Basically, the controls are basically Fahrenheit or Celsius, depending on your temperature preference, and setting the temperature up or down, and whether you want the fan on or off. That's about it. That's about it for all the controls that it has. So, it is lacking in the frills. I don't know, as I said, maybe that was to keep the price point down to something that would be very affordable, but that's the deal. Also, it doesn't have a meat probe of its own. So you got to come at this with your own meat probes to use when you're measuring temperature of food. It has no way to automatically shut off at a certain temperature. Once you turn this on, it just stays hot and just keeps running non-stop, because there's no timer, there's no meat probe, there's nothing to stop it. Once it's running, it just keeps going. I have found that the Power Smokeless Grill is truly a smokeless grill. I've cooked food on it using like extra virgin olive oil and cooked at temperatures well past the smoke point of extra virgin olive oil. I've cooked things like smoky bacon, and I've cooked smoky sausages and things on here. And you can see in the videos that I've cooked with using some oil, like cooking some steaks with some oil, and like cooking bacon, fatty bacon, big thick sliced fatty bacon. It really is smokeless. It really does suck away the smoke down into like through the water chamber and stuff. It sucks that smoke away. It does a good job with that. And so I will say that they are keeping true to the name of Power Smokeless Grill. There are a lot of smokeless grills out there that, they're smokeless by kind of the virtue of their design, but they don't really suck the smoke away. This is the first indoor grill I've used that actually sucks the smoke away. It has a fan that soaks the smoke away. You can be cooking something, you can turn that fan off, and you'll start seeing lots of smoke. And as I mentioned, if you don't put water in before you start, you're definitely going to see some smoke. And the Power Smokeless Grill does a great job at searing. I really like using this to sear things. It sears steaks really nice, sears chicken real nice. When it's searing steak and cooking steak, it's like cooking on an outdoor like gas grill, in my opinion. Like cooking on an outdoor gas grill, because the searing is really nice, and the color of the meat, the color that it cooks, it's not like cooking meat and it kind of turns white. Like some indoor cookers and grills, you cook things on them and the meat, it kind of gets a white kind of color to it. Not with this. With it, when it cooks stuff up, it cooks it up and it has a real nice color, just like you would get, in my opinion, from an outdoor grill. So it does a great job of searing, and to me it's as effective as like an outdoor grill as far as the type of sear that you really want on your meat. So I really enjoy like cooking up a bunch of steaks on here. It really does a good job with stuff like that. And the Power Smokeless Grill is very quiet. It doesn't make a lot of noise. If you have a bunch of food on the plate that is, sizzling, the sizzle of that meat's going to make some noise, but as soon as you put the lid on, it basically dampens that noise a great deal. The fan is a very soft, not very noisy fan. So this cooker is very quiet in my opinion in comparison with some others, especially being a grill. And so I really like using this, no extra excess noise, or it's not an annoying type of cooker when it comes to the noise level at all. And since it has no timer or anything, it's not like it ever stops and starts beeping or making any annoying beeps, because it just keeps running until you turn it off. And this Power Smokeless Grill XL version is able to hold a lot of food. I'm able to put a full 3-pound salmon fillet on here, and you can see the video with that, and cook it up. I'm able to cook like a whole bunch of steaks at once, a whole bunch of chicken at once, like 5 pounds of chicken breast at once. I mean, it can cook a lot of food at one time, and that's really cool to just be able to buy like a huge pack of chicken breasts and just throw them all on at one time. Buy a big 3-pound salmon fillet, throw it all on at one time, cook it all up at once, kind of like you were using an outdoor grill. I mean, it's really impressive like that. Now, the coating on the grill plate as well as the griddle are very non-stick. I found that nothing really sticks to them a whole lot. They do a good job of, being able to get things off of them and clean things off of them. So it's a good non-stick coating on both the grill plate and the griddle. I like that. That makes it easier for cleanup on the grill plate and the griddle. But when it comes to cleaning, there's a whole lot more to tell. The first thing to mention when it comes to cleaning is that, as I mentioned earlier, there's so many parts that it can be cumbersome to clean. I mean, when you're done cleaning and you've got a whole bunch of mess over this, I mean, first, of course, you got to clean the lid. Then you've got to take out the grill plate, and you've got to clean the grill plate. And if you're like me, if you use the grill plate and the griddle because you're, cooking different things, then you got to clean both of those up. Then after you're done with those, this heating element, it doesn't really get anything on the heating element. Anything gets on it burns off. But you're probably going to get a lot of splatter around here and around here. You got to wipe all that off, clean all that off. Then you got to get this drip thing here. You got to clean this off, and a lot of drippings may be down on it that you have to clean off. It does come clean, but it's going to take a little elbow grease to get this cleaned off. And then finally you get down to your water pan. Well, not finally, there's still more. But you get down to the water pan, and you've got to carefully take this out because you'll have like about 2 cups of water in it plus any drippings. You got to get this out carefully and clean that off. And then you've got this part here that might have something that dripped around somewhere in it, or a little water might have got down in there or something. You got to clean all that off. And then if you really want to go the extra mile, I showed in my initial review video how you can get the fan itself out, and you can clean off down in the fan chamber and such if you want to do that. So there's a lot of parts that have to be cleaned when you use this. And I mean, to be frankly honest, because I can, cleaning this and using this is a chore because of the cleaning. Using this cooker is a chore because of all the cleaning involved, because of all the parts. But at the same time, it is a truly smokeless grill. So for the effort involved in cleaning, you do get the benefit of a truly smokeless grill. So there's that trade-off there, and it's something to really consider, because when you use this, you do have a bit of cleaning ahead. You can, they say you can put some of its parts in the dishwasher, as I mentioned in my initial review video, but like this XL model is so big, you can't, I can't really get these parts in the dishwasher effectively, and I really don't want to. I really have found that it's just better for the longevity of a cooker to wash them by hand. So I wash this all by hand, and so it's a bit of a cumbersome task compared to some other cookers that I've used that I also would wash all or most of by hand. And although the grill plate is very non-stick, you do have to make sure that you clean this between every cook. Basically, if something gets really burnt in there, and you get like a good bit of food really burnt in there on the grill plate, after it's really burnt in, you basically, if you're going to keep using it, eventually you can cause enough smoke from that stuff that really got burnt in there. If you don't clean it off for the next cook, you can eventually get to a point where that stuff that's burnt in is going to create enough smoke from the heat of the grill plate to make enough smoke to overwhelm the smokeless system. This doesn't really happen normally. You know, I've only had it happen in cases where, let's say I just tried to cook something else and I neglected to properly clean it before I cook the next thing. You know, if the stuff that's burnt in there gets burnt in there enough, it is going to get to a point where it would cause a whole bunch of smoke and you would have some excess smoke. But that usually doesn't happen. As long as you wash it between uses and between cooks, you'll be just fine. It's just, you know, if you get, you know, you can take it to a point where you don't care for it properly and cause smoke yourself because you didn't care for it properly between cooks. Now, since the Power Smokeless Grill is a dedicated grill, it's only really fair when it comes to comparisons to compare it to the only indoor grill that I still use today, which is the New Wave Jubilee double grill, which is kind of like that old George Foreman style grill, except for it's got like a meat probe and heat controls and stuff like that. Basically, it's like this. It comes like this for me when it comes to that other New Wave Jubilee versus this Power Smokeless Grill. This grill I use for anything large because it can hold so much, you know, across its grill plate. It can do so much. So, you know, if I'm cooking something really big, I use the Power Smokeless Grill. Of course, if I'm doing like pancakes or something, I use that grill plate because it has a grill plate. And so that's really nice and convenient to do. But if I'm cooking something that I want cooked up really fast, then it's smaller, and I want it cooked up really fast, then I'll use a New Wave Jubilee, but it's got to be small because the New Wave Jubilee can cook up stuff that's really small really fast because it's got heat hitting it from both sides with grill plates on both sides of the food that you're cooking. But overall, for big stuff, this one. For small stuff I want to knock out fast, the New Wave Jubilee. Also, the New Wave Jubilee, as you've seen in videos for that, I'm able to use it as a sandwich press, so use that for sandwiches also. I would say, basically, if I had to pick between having one or the other, if I, you know, couldn't have both, it'd be a little tough. I'd probably stick with the Power Smokeless Grill because I'm able to put really large stuff on it and cook it all up at once, and it does a great job at searing, you know, a whole bunch of steaks and such like that. I really like that. Even though the New Wave Jubilee double grill can sear things by hitting it on both sides, I still prefer the searing and the type of meat that I get off of this overall than the New Wave Jubilee. I use the Jubilee for, like, you know, small sandwich type stuff, knocking stuff out quick. It's real good for that type of thing. But this one is good for all the bigger stuff, and it has the grill plate. And so having that grill plate is a real nice plus, despite the fact it doesn't have a timer, it doesn't have a meat probe. Still, all the same, I want to get some big cooks knocked out. This can get the job done. And it's got that griddle so that I can do my pancakes on it too. So that's real cool. So with that, I just want to mention that in the video description you can find my referral link for the smaller version of this cooker and to my Amazon shop for other things and other ways to help this channel. Also, you can find recipes for this cooker and others on my blog at superwaveovenrecipes.com. You can always come to this YouTube channel by going to waveovenrecipes.com, and if you haven't already seen them, you can see the other cooks that I've done in this Power Smokeless Grill XL, like the salmon, like the chicken breast, the steak and such. And also, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at waveovenrecipes. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and good eating.